Hello, everyone in Franchise Canada land. Gary Prenovo here with FranNet and author of The Unstoppable Franchisee and host of Season 8 for Franchise Canada Chats. Today, I'm pleased to introduce our guest, Robert Mitchell, who's Chief AI Officer for WSI, a digital marketing agency. Today, we're looking into how WSI tracks its franchisees' success and upcoming trends for the franchise industry. Given where AI is and how fast it's coming, it's going to be a very interesting episode. Robert, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your role at WSI and how it helps franchisees. Then we'll get into the whole AI discussion and the evolution and addition.
Right. So I have two main roles at WSI. The first is to finalize the whole premise, the whole framework of AI consultancy. We've recently, about a year ago, we made the pivot to add additional revenue streams for our franchise owners. As you know, we're in dozens of countries around the world providing digital marketing services through our franchise owners. And what we decided to do is to add the AI consultancy module so that these digital marketing agency and owners can add that to their existing product line, so to speak. And the beauty is, quite candidly, their clients already see them as those with the most likely expertise in the AI game. So it's a very natural progression. So my first role is to help our owners across the world understand AI, have a systematized roadmap to deliver that service, and then help them execute on it. So that's the other part. We developing the back end so that, as you know about our model, it's a brilliant model that Dan Monahan came up with years ago. Is that we have those owners out there finding clients and delivering and services, but then we have a network behind the scenes that delivers on those products that they sell, like maybe making websites or whatnot. We're doing the same thing for the AI consultancy model. So developing products and creating tools using AI. So that's the two main roles I have.
So for existing franchisees, you have to help them get up to speed, talk intelligently, be able to effectively assess the clients, what are their issues, opportunities, challenges. And then, if I understood you correctly, much like all the other WSI services, you've got the back of house platform for fulfillment. So are the franchisees fulfilling, or are they bringing the talent and the resources from the back of house to fulfill that?
To be quite honest, just like our digital marketing side, some owners have more skills in that realm than others. So it depends on the owner. I'll just put it to you that way. But for the most part, at least initially on, a lot of our owners do not have the chops to be what we call AI architects or AI ops people, developing and creating the tools necessary to deploy for their clients. So we house that internally. We create that product line and that solution architecture so that owners can go out and sell it. And at the end of the day, we deliver.
Okay, so but you're doing that for existing franchisees, but I would imagine this is going to be intensely competitive. And you're the first brand that I know of that's franchising this. So you're going to have a lot of people coming to you who want to offer these services as franchisees. Am I correct?
So a lot of people are coming to the model currently because of AI. AI is the first thing they want to sell, not digital marketing. So that is truly what we're seeing a lot with our franchise interest. And to be, again, candidly here, a lot of the bigger companies, the enterprise level, there's plenty of enterprise solutions out there. If you are part of Nestle, you have dozens of companies that are willing to help you with your AI solutions, your training of your team. But the SMBs out there, small, medium-sized businesses, even large businesses that are not enterprise, they don't have anybody. I mean, because the price tags are so much higher. We're coming in at a very revolutionary position, being that we're there specifically for those medium and small businesses.
And I think, as we talked before being on air, this is an add-on to the franchise services, not a different franchise. So while the AI is there, you've got the full suite of solutions that WSI offers around digital marketing and all things in that realm.
Yeah,
Who's the ideal franchisee that you're looking for with this evolution?
Wow. Consultative minded. Let me kind of walk you through our process so you can see what that might happen.
Yeah.
So we are not a hammer in search of a nail. Let's be very blunt about that. We are not, slinging snake oil, AI snake oil, so to speak, where we're just like, hey, AI bot and AI this. We're looking to be consultative. So when we go into it, into a conversation with a client, it starts with, let's find your problem areas, your pain points, the areas of your organization that are needing to be more efficient, that are data driven or repetitive, that AI can take, for example, 20 clicks of your mouse down to 1 click. And that's kind of what we're talking about. So if you think about somebody who can have that conversation with the client, delve into not just one department, but many, right? So it could be supply chain, accounting, marketing, sales. So you go into all these departments and you say, well, what are the main areas of problems that you're not able to address because it's too remote, or it seems to be something that you can't solve? Well, that's where AI can solve. And during this process, which the great part about it is that we might explore and uncover digital marketing needs at the which is really great, which is why they're not islands. They're definitely synergistic in their nature. So going back to your question, what kind of owners are best for this? Those who are inquisitive, those who love going down rabbit trails and asking questions, because we can train on the AI and what's capable with AI, but what we can't train on, or we probably could, but it's harder, is a mind that's like going into a business owner's model and understanding and being inquisitive enough to kind of navigate the problem areas and uncover those. So
Okay, so when I was in the training industry, sales management leadership training, we had a saying we had to be a product of the product. So I understand WSI uses AI in its own services internally. Could you walk us through that, how that works, please?
yeah, so how we're using it in several different regards. Specifically with our franchise owners, we have a tool that we've partnered with called Easy Assist. Easy because of franchisee, so ZEE. So they're a great AI powered company, and what they do, this is brilliant. So take a scenario where you have an ops team. Let's say you have 10 people involved with operational support for your franchise owners, okay? And let's say, if you're any number of those 10 people, you're getting the same questions. I mean, you're getting at least 40% of your questions are stuff you could say to an owner, if you read the operations manual, if you went to the intranet, if you went to this, that, and the other, you would get the answer you need. So this particular tool allows the franchise owner or even their staff to inquire via the channel they're most comfortable with. So if it's Slack, if it's email, if it's text, if it's any number of solutions, could be Teams. There is a AI created, I hate to say bot, it's more of an assistant that's trained on all of the data from the operations manuals, housed wherever it is housed. So if your company has dozen documents in Google Cloud and dozen documents on OneDrive and all over the place, doesn't matter. If your owner did a 3-hour long training session about whatever your franchise is about, it can scour that. And let's say a franchise owner asked a question that owner addressed in minute 42, it will extrapolate that from the video and it will tee it up for that owner in their home at their phone with that text talking to that AI consultant or AI assistant. So that tool we're rolling out for our franchise owners right now.
I've actually seen the Easy Assist tool in action and spent some time with them at the IFA conference. So okay, so let's transition this application, because a lot of our audience is would-be franchisees, and they're comparing brands, what franchise they should buy. So what's your advice to them about the role of AI, or franchisors embracing AI in any area of franchising to support their franchisees? What should they be looking for?
Well, that's a great question. And I want to tee this up with a shameless plug. So what WSI does do, in case you didn't know this, and I'm sorry I didn't mention it, so Dan's going to yell at me, we actually do work with franchisors for this exact reason. Because I would say if you're an aspiring franchisee or franchise owner, I like to call it, and you're looking for the right brand, one of the questions that you need to add to that validation, because I've been in franchising for 23 years, and I know what I would tell my friends and people that I know about how to evaluate franchises. Now the new question I ask, other than item 19 and litigation and item 20, all that kind of stuff, is are they working with AI at all? And the reason why that's a big question, Gary, is that if they're not, they're going to get leapfrogged by their competitors of theirs who are. And that's a big, even if the competitor is half the size or a tenth the size of any industry, of any technology ever in the history of man, I believe AI is one that can leapfrog the smaller organizations, whereas the bigger ones are like turning a huge cruise ship. They can't do it fast enough. They can't implement training fast enough. But the smallers can supercharge their existing employees to make them look like they're 10 employees. And that's the beauty of it. So if I'm looking at a new franchise right now, are you using AI and how are you doing it? Because that not only at the corporate office, which is great, but within the four walls of that brand, because that's the franchise owner's, bread and butter. And how are you helping to improve that model to their end customers? I said this a year ago when Dan and I were on a panel at the IFA. We were like, of all the industries, franchising has the biggest room to make an impact using AI because of the very nature of the franchise model, right? We created it and we deploy it through a network of successful owner operators, right? Or franchise owners. And what better way to make a tweak here that can be duplicated across 1,000 locations? It's a brilliant use case. So hopefully that answers your question.
It does. I've heard Dan and others say humans won't get replaced by AI. They will get replaced by humans using AI efficiently. So I think with any business owner, number one, before you buy the business, you want to start looking at and understanding the AI solutions that are out there because there's a lot of them. Chat GPT is just one. It's a popular one because they've got lots of notoriety, but there are all kinds of different tools. So is there any advice of where you would send would-be franchisees to, hey, here's a place to learn about AI?
Yes. I mean, so I'm not sure if you know this, but inside our network, we have what's called the Monday AI Meetup. And every Monday, I do AI in the news for all of our owners, and it's packed and it's great. It's an hour-long session, noon on every Monday. In order to prepare for that, that's my whole Monday morning, and even Sunday night is just packed with understanding. And I do so through the main channels. Oddly enough, TikTok, YouTube channels, Substacks, lots of subscribing to newsletters. It's not hard to find them, but that's where you start to get updated on what's going on in the world of AI. And some of the newsletters have some really good intel. The AI Exchange is one of the first places I went to become knowledgeable about what's going on in AI. But after that, there were just so many more. Matt Wolf on YouTube is great. There's several others out there, but I mean, that's what I would do. Educate yourself by getting newsletters and following the trends that are happening on AI.
Isn't it so true of the to be really successful in business, there's an element of self-starting, isn't there? Like if you're waiting for it to be served up on a plate these days, don't go into business. You've got to go out and make it work. Um, are there any trends in franchising that you see gaining prominence in the next year or so, Robert?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm focused 100% on AI in this new role. New, I should say, year and a half old. But the difference, I think, when I say in new trends in franchising, I can't not see AI. I can't not see it. It's just because every smart organization is looking for impact, looking for ways to upgrade their efficiency of the organization and helping their franchise owners do so. So the trends I'm seeing are really engaging this new technology, and that's all I see. And the ones that don't are kind of sticking their head in the sand. That's the scary part about them. I feel bad for them because they're going to get steamrolled.
We've already talked a little bit about that. Where I see the trends around AI and franchising, it's some of the data, collecting and harvesting, processing data, create a better end user experience. So franchisee to end user. franchisee to franchisee, optimizing, simplifying, then franchisor, as we've already talked about, to franchisee, optimizing systems and processes to take the grunt work out of it and make them focus, give them time to focus more on the high payoff activities and the relationship side of things.
Okay, yeah. So if you're looking for specifics like that, yeah, definitely. So for example, there's a call agent that we've been working on. You know, we do that for the friend dev, but we can also do inbound and outbound. So it's an AI generated call agent that most of the people that are receiving this call don't know it's an AI. It talks in natural language. It uses ums and ahs. It listens to the candidate or the person. We can do that inbound and outbound for clients. We can create that so that if people are calling in wanting to book an appointment, they can handle that. We can do outbound for dead leads. We can call thousands and thousands of dead leads with snap of our fingers. And even if only 1% respond, it was a huge win because it didn't cost us hardly anything. And the beauty of that is that it's trained on all of our data, so it can actually make the friend dev conversation and tee up that call with our franchise development professionals. So those are some leaps in the franchise world. I guess if you're asking for that, that's one that I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag, but it's something that we're doing internally that we're quite proud of. So
that is so cool. It's just, I want to learn more. I always love learning, but this is the speed of learning. It really compresses it, doesn't it? Well, other than the advice you've already given prospective franchisees about asking how they're using AI and where, what other advice would you give to our listeners who are thinking about franchise ownership these days, Robert?
well, you know what's funny? You know, I listen to lots of podcasts, and one of the things that comes up often is that, I mean, obviously this is not in the franchise world, but something that will relate to the franchise world is you're going to soon see the first single person $1 billion company, right? Unicorn. You're going to, it's going to happen because of the age of AI that would have been possible before. And why I'm bringing that up for franchising is if you are looking to be a franchise owner, a lot of brands out there, a lot of concepts out there are owner operator. A lot of them, you don't have a huge team. Now, the big food brands, you have 30 employees. Yes, I get that. There's a lot of brands out there that are really strong, as you know, being in FriendNet, that are really strong, but it really requires a hustler, one that's an owner operator, right? Oh my goodness, nothing will empower those individual franchise owners more than AI tools. That's why these franchisors really got to double down on these. And so that'll make them more powerful as a single unit operator. So yeah, in the world of franchising, this is a big unlock. And I think that owners should be, or potential franchise owners should be inspired and hopeful that these tools are going to be accessible. Even if the franchisor doesn't do anything about it, they can still have access to them because they're so approachable. I can go on and on about approachability, but this is why it's so big. I do these trainings all the time. No offense to you and I, because we both have gray hair, but the gray hairs in the room, I point to them, and the gray hairs are like, this is your day. You're going to be able to take what you've done for 20 years. And because of AI, because it's so easy to use, you're going to be able to leapfrog your efficiency when you have all these younger people that you thought were going to, pass you by. You're going to pass them by. You know why, Gary? It's because the language models and the tools are conversational AI, and the older generations, they know how to communicate, where the younger generations don't. So again, I'm going on a rabbit trail, but I'm telling you, this is a big time for those who are of entrepreneurial age, in the 40s and 50s, where most entrepreneurs, take a leap, right?
That's a big aha moment as I hear you say that. Any other big aha moments for you as you've been drilling all over the place with this?
Sorry, you're catching me off guard. All the aha moments, I have them all the time, and I see them in the light bulb moments of the training classes I do, and they go, "Wow, I can do this with it." It's like, yeah. So I can't think of one right now, but there are a lot. They happen all the time.
One of my aha moments was when I heard, whatever you're seeing right now, it's only going to get better. It doesn't go backwards. It's machine learning, it self teaches, and it only improves.
Yeah, another way of saying it is, this is the worst version you'll ever see of this model. It's like people are, sorry, my cough is trying to come out. People are trying to talk about, the language models or the image generators or the music generators aren't capable of doing this, that, and the other. But imagine this is where it is now. 6 months from now, it'll be blowing you away. So this is the worst version you're going to see.
What I keep on hearing is you to treat it like an intern. You have a conversation with whatever it is that you can educate it on what you need. And that's what I still got to get the hang of myself. As I learn. What would you ask you, Robert, that I haven't asked you as it relates to AI and the people listening to this that searching for franchises?
Well, the two things that always come up in every class I teach or every workshop I do, it's kind of like it's a broken record, and I kind of have my timer to see when they ask the question. What about privacy? They always get that question. I'll go, oh, my data, and they take my data. We'll pause that one and put that to the side, and I'll answer the next one that comes up all the time. Is it will it take my job? And you made it. You alluded to this earlier from Dan's perspective, and I want to double down on how Dan describes it. I think it's brilliant. So if you take 4 employees or 5 employees at an organization, and you were to take their tasks and you were to process map them, and you were to say, okay, I want to take all 5 of them and take 20% of each one of their daily tasks. I want to have AI do that. What did you just do? You just made one person full-time equivalent irrelevant. So that's not necessarily going to have one person get fired, but it's definitely going to stop the next person from getting hired. And so the question I always want to make sure people realize, it's not blatantly firing people or quitting, well, in some instances, as I learned today, it did. I'll get to in a second. But the bigger point I'm trying to make is that it's coming at the tasks, it's coming at the processes that you're doing and making that more efficient. So you better be the one in your organization that's embracing this, because of those 5 people, the one that doesn't is the one that's going to get let go. So be the one that's embracing this in your organization.
Well, and there's another component to it. After that 20% is removed, what are they going to do with that extra 20% of time that they can focus for higher results? And that's, to me, where the magic is.
It absolutely is. You're right. That comes down to culture. So when I'm talking to companies, it always comes out, what are you going to do with it? Some companies are like, oh, that's more margin, I can fire people. Some people, it's like, oh, the employees are more relaxed and they're more happy. Okay. Some of them were like, now I can put more work on those employees. So it's all about the culture of the company. They could take those 20% savings of time and have them do other tasks. Or in my opinion, what I like is make that the more consumer, what AI cannot do, which is that relational piece of the client interaction. So,
one of the things that I wonder about, because it's growing so fast, it's emerging and changing. How do you manage success or KPIs around like making sure you stay on the right track?
The right track, meaning the right track of adoption of technology, or what?
Yeah, with the focus of optimize, like, okay, I come at it from one of the franchisors' primary roles is helping their franchisees improve their businesses, and sometimes that's driving unit economics. It's driving efficiency so the franchisee has better quality of life and better quality of business, and ultimately that should show up on the bottom line. They're going to look at it as, I might not be making more money, I'm making the same amount of money, but I have way more quality of life because I've got the efficiencies. I can spend more of it with my family or whatever their priorities are. It's always achieving their goals, financial and lifestyle, through improving their businesses.
Wow. Yeah. So that kind of tees up a couple of different topics on data. So one of our clients we're working with is a franchisor in Canada, and they have 150 locations or franchise owners. And one of the things that their ops team is just struggling with on a regular basis is, well, let me back up. We had one of our conversations that we had with this client was with the marketing department. The marketing department every month spends hours and hours on putting together a report to be used by the ops team when they have the conversation with the franchise owner. Okay. So you tee it up that way. So what they're having to do is all of their digital marketing assets, all of their outbound, all of the lead generation tactics, and all the results of that, all the campaigns, all the analytics, that's going from all these other sources, right? What we're going to do for that client is going to be brilliant. We're building a dashboard, and everything pulls in the pull down menu of the franchise owner, and boom, whichever ops person is handling whatever franchise owner, they get all of that data to make an informed decision to help that franchise owner. Now, that was done by a team of, I don't know, 6 people, because each 150 location had to be done 150 times every single month. So that's a huge unlock. So you're talking about data and making sure you're getting KPIs. That is how you do it. So now those 6 people can work on better messaging, better social media posts. So because they're responsible for doing all of the marketing for this franchise model. So that is a huge unlock, right? So number one, having the data and then formulating it in an easier to use method, because other than an Excel spreadsheet, when we hear Excel, we just gleam, because we love that, because at least we know we can move it around in a more efficient way. But yeah, so that's what I think of when I think of KPIs and AI.
Interesting. Yeah, and it's just there's so much to continue to learn and watch. Um, it's rare that I'm at a loss for words, and I just think about all the different where it's going. Any final thoughts for our audience, Robert? And or final for today, because this is going to be an emerging and ongoing discussion, isn't it?
I would like to think so. Excuse me. Final thoughts. I think don't be caught behind. Don't have AI be hitting you in the backside. I want you to be reaching out for it. Here's my 2 takeaways. I always tell to all these groups. For the next week, instead of using Google for anything that you use Google for, just for grins and giggles, use ChatGPT. If you don't have a subscription to ChatGPT, shame on you. If you're listening to this, you should have it. And if you're worried about cost, then don't eat one Starbucks or drink one Starbucks drink for a month. It's only $20. Or if you want to use Claude is a good version as well. That's number 2. Or one more thing, if you want to use Perplexity AI, because Perplexity AI is a tool that integrates the capabilities of a language model, but also the search functionality of a Google search. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, bring it to every conversation. I'm talking, honey, what are we having for dinner? Where are we going for vacation? Hey, boss, I need a SWOT analysis on our competitor. Every conversation, bring it to it and engage it. And I don't mean just like think about it yourself and then ask it. Pretend as if you have Warren Buffett sitting in front of you and you need financial advice. Are you going to waste that time? You're not going to waste that time. You're going to extrapolate everything you can from Warren Buffett. So treat the AI like the smartest person that you've ever had a chance to sit down to every time you have a task. Just do it for a week, and I guarantee you'll be blown away.
Wonderful words of wisdom. Thank you very much. I'm going to do that myself. Thank you again, Robert, for sharing your wisdom, and I definitely want to watch this and talk with you again. Folks, that's a wrap for this episode. Thanks for listening to Franchise Canada Chats Season 8.